It's week 4 of the Israel-Hamas war and the ground invasion has begun, but not how you'd expect it to. There is no all-out invasion of the Gaza Strip. Instead, it's a sustained raid, a prolonged ground incursion. And how much firepower are we talking about? Well, that's the thing. Israel has not revealed its plans or objectives or numbers. All we know is this. Israeli tanks and soldiers are currently inside Gaza. They're fighting the Hamas in the north. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu called it the second phase of the war.
Yesterday evening, more of our ground forces entered into Gaza in the development of the stronghold of evil. This is the second phase of the war whose goals are clear: the destruction of the military and governmental capabilities of Hamas and the return of the hostages home.
Hamas has also confirmed this. They're talking about quote-unquote heavy fighting in the north. Just one difference though. Israel is not hyping things up this time. They usually document their attacks and raids. They make videos. They release them. They also release footage of how the offensive is going on, but not this time. The ground operations have been closely guarded. Most of the deployments are happening at night. As for footage, this is the only clip we have. Tanks and soldiers on the move, location and date unknown. Reports say the ground operations are focused on two things right now. One is the Hamas tunnels. There is a massive underground network below Gaza. Experts say it could be Hamas's secret weapon. So the IDF is trying to neutralize that. The second area of focus is the Gaza city. It's the largest Palestinian city, also a major power center of the Hamas. Tanks have been spotted on the outskirts of Gaza city. The plan could be to encircle it. And a ground operation does not mean the air raids have stopped. In fact, they have escalated. Israel's Air Force claims to have hit 600 targets in 24 hours. And some of them are controversial. Like the Al-Azhar University, it is located in Gaza City. Israel says the campus was hosting Hamas anti-tank missiles. If true, they could have hampered the ground invasion. So what did the IDF do? Their soldiers guided fighter jets to the university. It was later bombed. Now, tracking all this has become tough. Because over the weekend, Gaza lost connectivity. The internet was knocked out. No phone calls, no video messages, no information. By Sunday evening, the connections were slowly restored. Last we checked, things are getting better. The IDF was asked about the internet blackout. This was their response.
We do what we have to do to secure our forces for as long as we must, temporary or permanent, as much as we need to, and we will not say anything further about that.
All indications are Gaza City will be targeted. The IDF has already struck a university there. They're also asking hospitals to evacuate, like the Al-Quds Hospital and the Al-Shifa Hospital. Both are home to hundreds of civilians. So the IDF is asking them to leave, to move further down south. But many Gazans have refused to do so. They say Israeli threats will not work.
Now the Israelis say that they will hit Al-Shifa. Whether they do this or not, this is what is normal for us now. The threats do not frighten us. Let them launch airstrikes as much as they want. We are all martyrs at the end.
So that's Gaza, the southern front. Israel is engaging on the north as well, with Lebanon and Syria. They have struck military targets in Syria. They're also facing off with Lebanon's Hezbollah. Just look at these pictures. They show Israel shooting down Hezbollah rockets. Such exchanges have become quite common in the last 20 days. Hezbollah claims to have carried out 84 attacks along the border. They've also lost 46 fighters so far. The IDF has lost around 7 soldiers. They've stationed tanks and soldiers in the north. The idea here is to deter the Hezbollah. Chances are they will see the ground operation as an opportunity. They may think Israel is busy with Gaza, so it's the perfect chance to open a second front. The Israeli army is trying to prevent that. But let's come back to Gaza for the moment. What is Israel's strategy in Gaza? For 3 weeks, we expected a full-blown invasion. But this operation is not full-blown. It signals limited intent. The question is why? And the answer is 2 possibilities. One, Israel has decided to shelve the full-scale invasion. Instead, this is their new plan: targeted raids. Or possibility number 2, this is a sneak peek, a precursor to the major invasion. Either way, it signals a change in Netanyahu's thinking. And what could have caused that change in thinking? For starters, his allies were not on board. Europe was against a full-scale invasion. The US wanted a humanitarian pause. In public, Israel rejected both. But in private, maybe they have reservations too. Also, the public sentiment in Israel is not favorable. A big reason for that is the hostages. They're still with Hamas. Hamas holds more than 200 people. Their families want Israel to delay the invasion.
We know when we see that they are speaking about two goals for this operation. One is to bring all the hostages, and the second is to destroy Hamas. And as her boyfriend, I truly afraid that these two goals is like in conflict with each other. They cannot achieve together.
We are very worried about our dearest, that they are there. And we don't know that if the whole military operation take all these hostages under consideration, that nobody will be injured.
So targeted raids could be the answer. Less danger to Israeli troops, less casualties compared to a full-scale assault, and still a blow for Hamas. But can such raids overthrow their rule? That is the big question. Netanyahu said Hamas cannot be allowed to rule Gaza anymore. He promised to destroy them, and that may not be possible with targeted raids. In fact, even with a full invasion, removing Hamas may not be possible because Hamas has supporters and backers across the region, like in Turkey. Their president, Recep Tayyip Erdogan, has given Hamas a clean chit. He said Hamas is not a terror group. But guess who is? According to Erdogan, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is the terrorist.
Just as Netanyahu is a terrorist, the opposition says Hamas is a terrorist organization as well. Shame on you. Israel, we will declare you as a war criminal to the world. Right now, we are making preparations for this.
And that's the problem with fighting enemies like Hamas. They're not conventional powers. Most of their leaders are abroad, their funders and supporters are abroad. Only the fighters are in Gaza. Maybe a ground offensive can destroy them. But what's stopping a new generation of radicals? A generation that has been directly affected by Israel's operation. Chances are they'll be even more radicalized. And these are all factors that Israel needs to consider.